waiting for. All right. Pause.
10 hours later.
Best thing about that is I have all of this on video, so you could actually put the SpongeBob thing and just say 2 hours later.
Yeah. Yep. Don't you hate when you have to use the crapper and instead you fall into a bucket of cabbage water?
Welcome to the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim.
That's Ashley.
That's Kim.
She needs no other introduction.
Today we're going to recap our favorite moments from Business Proposal Episode 4 with you, our listeners.
We're going to jump right in, so if you have not yet, make sure you go and watch the episode before you come back here and join us so we can talk about the show together. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Welcome to the KDrama Show. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kim.
We're here to unpack your all-time favorite Korean dramas and chat about all the reasons that we find these shows so charming.
And so addictive, and we know you do too, so settle in with some ramen and a boba tea while we dive into the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim.
Check us out on Instagram at the KDrama Show. Get back into posting some tea. I've kind of taken a little bit of a break there.
Oh, we all have.
We all have. It's fine. Yeah, give us a follow. Follow us on YouTube. Give us a comment. Say hi to us. Talk to us.
Comment an emoji of how your day is going. And I'll comment back with the merp face, because that's how it's going.
Or the one where it's like sweating and you're like smiling and sweating like
yeah, pretty much that's my everyday. So we open up our episode where we left off before with HaRi on the elevator, and TaeMoo is entering this same elevator, which causes HaRi to panic, and she drops her eye patch. And there's just this kind of moment of tension where you're like, oh well, the gig is up, the jig is up. The jig, J-I-G. The jig is up. Sorry. And, but she uses SungHoon walking up as a distraction to kind of step out of the way, get her hair over her face, which is going to be a very common theme with her for this episode. But she just starts acting extremely awkward, where she just kind of like hunches over and pulls her hair in front of her face and sort of looks like a murderer.
Drawing attention to yourself, really.
Exactly.
You're making yourself look
way more conspicuous.
Right.
But she realizes in the elevator that TaeMoo is going to be at the soft pitch of their product that day in the lunchroom, where all of the teams are going to present their best products, and then everyone's going to kind of taste them, see how they go over, almost like a test group, a focus group. But TaeMoo is now in the lunchroom, and he is sampling the white kimchi ravioli that MinWoo has created at HaRi's behest, I guess you could say. And he sings its praises, and he's just like, this is so good, it's gonna sell really well. And SungHoon makes note of the fact that HaRi isn't actually there, because she was one of the people who helped, first of all, get MinWoo on the team.
Right.
Second of all, develop this product. And she is busy sitting in the bathroom receiving text updates about how TaeMoo likes her product. His impressions of the ravioli. And while she's there, she overhears some coworkers saying that this is probably one of the best dishes they've tasted all day.
Right.
Which she is very excited about.
Hair flip right there.
But later, HaRi and MinWoo are at his restaurant, and they're discussing the successes of the day, right? And MinWoo brings up the concert tickets that he had given to HaRi and asks how it was going with Youngso. I think he did, didn't he? And she's like, well, actually, I did take somebody else, and we had a good time. And he does not like that.
No, he's a little put off.
I think in the back of his mind, she was always like the sure thing, where if other things didn't work out, she could fall back, or he could fall back on her, you know what I mean? And so he prickles a little bit at the fact that there's another man, and he makes kind of a joke, but not a joke, about, well, I better meet this guy and make sure that I approve of him. And she goes, you need to focus on your girlfriend. Don't worry about me. It was
not your friend. That is a girl.
Yeah. It was
very nice.
Honestly, good for her.
Yeah.
For being able to draw that line. Because that's a tough one, especially when you've known someone that long. I think that's
you've had a crush on them for that long.
Mm-hmm. That shows a lot of maturity on her part. So
absolutely.
We applaud. We applaud that.
Which I have as leading into topic 2. Which is not named. Which that's all yet. So Young-so shows up at the restaurant because they're waiting. It's going to be the 3 of them. Not an uncommon thing in their lives. And she's sitting in her car and she sees Secretary Cha get out and she's like, oh, that looks like my neighbor. And then she sees TaeMoo and she goes, oh no. And she is desperately trying to call HaRi and just be like, I need you to get out. Like,
abort.
Your cover is about to be blown. Like, we need to get you out of there. Mm-hmm. But HaRi actually isn't even at the table where her phone is. And she walks out of, like, the restroom or something and turns and sees that MinWoo is actually talking to TaeMoo. And she's going, oh, well, we are now going to be best friends with the floor. And
she, like, hits the deck. Yeah.
And we crawl, grab our stuff, and makes our getaway. And MinWoo is, like, trying to be like, yeah, HaRi is actually here. You can get to, talk to her. And he looks around and is just like, where in the world did she go? And she has booked it out of the restaurant at this point. And so he decides to call her because TaeMoo would like to speak with her. And as he's calling her, TaeMoo hears her ringback song, which that was a throwback right there for me. We haven't had the
decade or more.
I miss those days, actually. But he hears the song that was dedicated to HaRi, but Gyunhee at the concert, and is just like, wow, is this song, like, really popular or something? Like, suddenly it's everywhere. So Young-so and HaRi have made their way to their little restaurant that they always go to, and they are lamenting the fact that Secretary Cha is Young-so's neighbor, because that means HaRi can't come over unless she, like, absolutely has to, but she has to be dressed up as Gyunhee, otherwise everything's gonna fall apart. To which HaRi is telling her, you can't get close to him and blab. Like, you're not allowed to be friendly with him anymore. And she's pretty sure that that's not going to happen because he's quite put off with her antics of creating, what's the word I want? Creating tension between the two families, between TaeMoo's family and her family.
Yeah.
But back at the restaurant, TaeMoo's complimenting MinWoo's food and saying, there must be a reason why HaRi, like, mentioned this, because, like, this is great food. And this is when he learns that when TaeMoo learns that HaRi and MinWoo have actually been friends for a really, really long time. And he just, like, asks questions of, like, oh, and you've never been in a relationship before? And he's not trying to be, like, he doesn't actually care. He's being the businessman that he is, he asks pointed questions. And so he's just like, oh, I would assume that if you've been friends that long, one of you would have developed feelings for the other. And MinWoo just kind of stands there and is like,
a little too perceptive there, friend.
I don't really love that this is where you're directing this conversation. As he's asking these questions, this is when SungHoon, like, brings up to TaeMoo that at one point, like, it has been heard by the people that HaRi used to have a crush on MinWoo, and TaeMoo's just like, see, yeah, I figured that was the case. Like, you can't, he's like, there's just a lot of people that I apparently know that have been friends for a long time and have been rejected by...
He's drawing this parallel back to
Gyunhee.
Yeah.
Which leads us into topic 3.
So Young-so catches SungHoon avoiding her in their apartment hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And she confronts him, but he was simply just taking out the trash, and he had seen her waiting by the elevator and didn't want to, like, trap her with the garbage smells. So he was trying to be polite, but she, of course, is reading it as, he'll just do anything to avoid me, which honestly, at this point, I would also avoid you. So, yeah. But she is trying to assure him that, like, the clunkiness of the relationship between, like, her family and TaeMoo's family does not have to affect her relationship with him. Like, they can be friends, they can be neighborly. And he just kind of blows her off again because he's like, yeah, no, not really. And as he walks down the stairs away from her, she kind of grits her teeth at him, and she's like, what are you, like his younger brother or something? And we then see SungHoon at the chairman's house. And he's in a hallway, and he looks at this door, and he goes through, and he's very familiar with where he is, and we see him pick up a photo, and it's the chairman and a couple of young boys. And as he's going through the things in this room, you start to realize that this was his room at some point. There's photos of he and TaeMoo and the chairman going through different stages of their youth. And he grew up in this house.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they are brothers. Maybe not by birthright, but definitely by every other sense of the word. And so as he's going through his things, he finally pulls out this photo of, we assume it's him, at the orphanage that he came from, along with a nun who's standing next to him. And he kind of, he conceals it when he hears TaeMoo walk in behind him. And TaeMoo's like, the chairman really would like for you to move back in with us just because, we could be a family again, or he wants us to be a family again. And SungHoon's like, yeah, no, I don't need that stress in my life. I got to get away from you for a little bit.
I don't need to suffer at home also.
Yeah. Fair. But the three of them are eating dinner, and the chairman is basically threatening TaeMoo that you need to get married, or I just enjoy these dinners so much that maybe we'll just have to have them twice a week at my house, and you guys have no excuses to not come to them. And they both kind of panic a little bit because they don't want to spend 2 of their evenings every week with their grandfather.
Right.
And so he scolds them for not being more attentive to him and not just volunteering their time to be there, but he's looking at TaeMoo's schedule because SungHoon has pulled it up at his request, and he goes, do you not realize what this weekend is? And TaeMoo's like, no. He goes, how could you be so forgetful? It's your 1-year anniversary. And SungHoon's over here going like, and TaeMoo's like, why do you keep pointing at me with your finger?
What are you doing?
What are you doing over there? But then the chairman teases TaeMoo for forgetting and saying that he's going to forget to attend his own grandfather's funeral at this rate.
Thanks, Grandpa.
Thank you.
To which I have going into topic 4. So HaRi and her coworkers are sent on a little business trip. They're shooting a documentary for the project that they've been working on, of just to get some behind the scenes look of, from farm to table type of feel. And actually nearby, the chairman is looking at some land that the company owns, and he's complimenting the wonderful view that they have. And the director that is with him, is like, what we should do with this? We should just bulldoze it. We should build a resort and, like, make this a whole thing. And we finally get to see businessman chairman come out, and he goes, and why are you coming to me instead of the president? And they're like, oh, well, we actually submitted this business plan, and he shot it down. And he was like, okay. It was like, but he's not as bold as you, and like, if he heard it from you, and he turns and just goes, you will be fired. Your job is to support him, therefore do it. And the director definitely tries to backpedal, and
yeah,
it's not going so hot.
Well, he also calls him out, the chairman calls him out on the fact that I know you've been buying lots of land in this area and you're gonna cash in on a pretty penny if we do decide to develop. And this is your whole motivation. Like, you're insider trading, basically. Trying to,
like, yeah,
line your own pocket.
Do you think I'm stupid?
Yeah, schmuck.
Do I have stupid on my forehead? Because last I checked, I didn't.
I don't know. You have bangs, so.
Oh, man.
You messed up your bangs.
I know, right? So we cut back to HaRi and her coworkers, and they're working on filming, and they're going from one to the next, throwing the cabbage, and being like, saying their little line, throw it to the next. And everything's going great, except for one person. And Ben, he can't get it together. Like, at all. He will catch it and then just... Come on, my dude. And they get frustrated because they're like, dude, we've done this 10 times now. You have to get this together. And his last pass, because he, throws it on, and HaRi's been catching all of them, and his last throw is basically like a football throw for HaRi to jump and land on her face again. And as she's getting up from catching the cabbage, the chairman actually shows up because he has seen the bus as he was driving by. And so he stops, to see what's going on at the shoot, how everything is going. And HaRi again goes into, let me take my hair and live with that as a curtain in front of my face.
It looks so awkward.
It's quite interesting. So they were taking a break. And her phone, unfortunately, has been left in this little gazebo area that her team leader and the chairman are sitting in and having a conversation with, and her phone just rings and rings and rings, because it's TaeMoo trying to get a hold of her, being like, hey, we have to meet.
Make a plan.
We have to, yeah. And she gets called over to come pick up her phone, and as she's, like, being called over, we actually see TaeMoo listening to the playback song, and he's just going, here it is, again, another place for it. But yeah, she gets called up again, behind her curtain, just being like, sorry, I gotta go, I gotta take this. And so she calls him back, and he actually has a total butt about it, and just sits there and lets it ring. And ring and ring. And so they discuss upcoming Saturday. She actually remembers that it's their fake anniversary compared to him. And he's like, okay, well, can you come to, like, let's go to dinner tonight, that, kind of plan. And she's like, I'm on a business trip and I'm not actually supposed to be answering my phone. And he gets a little bit annoyed with what kind of company doesn't let you
sends an injured employee and doesn't let her answer her phone.
Which leads us into topic 5.
But to circle back to the very beginning of this scene.
Yes. When
they are on the bus to Namhae. And there's Kevin.
Yes.
Powdering his face like he's some kind of 18th century French aristocrat. I don't really know. He was really laying it on thick.
And then the same, you're not even
it looks terrible. Yeah, it's just cakey and awful, and he's all walking into it so confident, I don't know why they brought the rest of you.
Well, he even says
because you're bad at it.
No, he even says he's like, if I'm not handsome, I can at least get myself up to average. I was like, oh.
Same, dude.
Wow.
I feel that in my soul.
But it was like, the focus isn't on you for this shoot. It's for the chefs.
Well, I mean, he didn't need to know that.
Right.
So as HaRi has, slunk away being weird, I almost made another Twilight reference. The chairman has an ups. Do you know that scene in the first movie where she's like, things were getting strange, and there's this guy that sneaks by in the background with his... It's fine. I'm cutting that out.
Please don't. Okay.
So Hardy has slunk away behind her hair. And the chairman is starting to complain of like an upset stomach. And her boss is like, well, it's probably just because you suddenly ate something really cold and your body's just like, no.
Not today.
Yeah. And so he's busy trying to, go to the restroom. And then Kevin, in his suave charm, perfect timing, decides he's going to crack a bunch of terrible, terrible puns. And the chairman's trying to be polite about it. Until he just can't be. And he, like, grips his arm. He's like, I have to go to the bathroom.
Well, because he even tells him, like, I need to go to the bathroom. And he goes, oh, no, I'm not done with you yet.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. But, yeah, the need goes from casual to, like, critical in no time flat, which we've all been there. And Kevin does. He takes him to the bathrooms, and there's a locked door. And it's HaRi. She has gone in there to take the phone call from TaeMoo. And so she moves to leave the bathroom, and she opens the door, sees the chairman, and yanks the door shut. And honestly, at that point, you should have just left. You should have just walked away quickly. But she's left him outside the door just to suffer. I don't even know.
Suffer.
Suffer.
Just suffer.
And he gets upset because he's like, why are you doing this? This is ridiculous. And he starts to tug on the door. And as he's tugging on the door, she goes to open it. She's like, I can't just hole up in here for the rest of the day.
Right.
And of course, as he's pulling on it, he falls backwards. And it's like slow motion. She goes to grab him, and he goes to grab her hand. And then as she's reaching out, she realizes, oh, my face is exposed. So she covers her head and just lets him fall into a bucket of dirty cabbage water. So TaeMoo is meeting with an employee. Okay, first of all, I have to say that is such a scummy thing to do. Like, I don't care if you feel like you're going to get caught in a lie. The fact that you just let this elderly man fall off of a step that's like 3 feet high.
Yeah.
He could have broken a hip.
Into cold water.
It could have actually, and like, you could really
mess up your spine.
Critically injure yourself or hit your head. Yeah, that was dumb.
That was...
I know it's a show, but I was like, are
bar.
you kidding me?
Like, you just... you lost some points there.
You did. Just a little bit.
Oh.
TaeMoo is meeting with an employee to go over the marketing strategy that they have for this new product release. And she's showing him the raw footage that they've collected from this shoot in Namhae. And he spots HaRi, or Gimhee, in some of the behind-the-scenes footage. And he's like, we should use that because she's saying something about how, I've put in my best effort because we need to be careful with the produce and not waste anything because it's precious and it all can go to use. And he really likes that, what she says about it. But he gets a phone call at the end of this meeting. And at this point, we've cut to Youngso.
Yep, so now on topic 6. So Youngso is walking into her apartment building, and she's finding somebody, like, shoving mail back into a mailbox. And as she walks up, she's like, that's mine. And he apologizes, and he's like, I am so sorry, I live in this unit, and I accidentally grabbed your mail by mistake. And, as she pulls out, there's even a note that says, I'm so sorry I grabbed this by mistake. And so they're just making small talk, apologizing. Oh, it's okay. It happens. Mm-hmm. And as they're talking, Secretary Cha walks up, and he, like, makes it a point to be, like, to not even acknowledge that anybody is standing there. But as they're making small talk, they're like, the guy that was messing with her mail, like, goes, oh, you just recently moved in, didn't you? And, like, comments on the furniture that she got. And he goes, I'm actually a furniture designer. So, like, you can actually tell a lot about somebody by, the type of furniture that they get. Mm-hmm. And as they're having this conversation, Secretary Cha is kind of, like, in the corner, like, kind of listening.
Wishing that he wasn't so interested in their conversation.
Yes, like being like, oh, crap, I would literally like to not be here right now. But she even like makes like, she's like, oh yeah, no, I'm totally good, just to be cool, you know, just to say hi because we're neighbors, and trying to poke the bear that is very, very effectively walking away.
Yeah, it's all a stab, a jab at SungHoon.
So we cut to the chairman, and he's getting acupuncture done on his back after his fall.
Awful.
And TaeMoo is sitting there in the room, and he's just like, I think you're fine. I think you're being a little bit ridiculous. You're over-exaggerating. And his grandfather gets really annoyed and is just like, that Shin Hadi, or like, he doesn't remember her name, but he's like, she needs to get it together. Like, she is unkept. You know, think about Gumhee. Like, she is so young and bright and, you know, breath of fresh air, and comparing how drastically these two young women are. Wig and makeup, man, they do a lot.
Yeah.
And
well, when you're trying to look like the Grudge every time he walks around you, yeah.
Well, and TaeMoo just is like, Grandpa, you know what your doctors have told me? You're a hypochondriac. You need to stop. And he's like, there's some choice words that are hurled his way. But his grandfather tells him, you know, I actually got some medicine for Gimhee. When are you going to see her again? Because I want to, you know, send this to her. It's just traditional medicine. And so TaeMoo takes it upon himself to deliver it, and calls HaRi and, you know, is like, hey, I'm outside your house. I have something for you. And, you know, if you're here. And she's like, can I just meet you somewhere? Like, because he offers to drop it off in the shop. And she's like,
yeah,
no, that's not happening.
Yeah.
So they meet at a park, and she's wearing this bear helmet costume to deliver chicken.
It's awful.
It's something. And he gives her the medicine, and then her first question is your grandfather all right? And he's just like, how did you know he was hurt? Like, what? So she's like, oh, well, you said he went to, you know, a traditional medicine clinic, and that's just where my brain went. And inside, like, the helmet, you see she's just, like, picking multiple choice answers of, like, what do I... And the one that she settles on is, I'm in a pickle. But the other sweet thing is TaeMoo has also gotten her medicine that's 4 bruises. And she's like, here, and she hands him a bag of fried chicken, and he's like, why? And she's like, well, it'd look really weird if I went to deliver chicken and I came back with it. And she leaves, and after she leaves, TaeMoo just goes, and to think I just drove all the way here just to check on her face, like, just to see if she was okay.
Yeah, they're both busy trying not to catch feelings at this point.
They've already been caught. Which leads us into topic number, what are we on? 7?
Topic number next.
Topic number next. I like that.
HaRi is now dressed as Gumhee, right? She disappears down into a subway station, and she comes back up as Gumhee.
Where is she storing her clothes?
I don't know.
I mean, it's the magic of
kangaroo
television.
pouch. I don't know. Anyway.
Her kangaroo pouch. I like it.
But the two are having a night out on the town, right? Because they're having their fake anniversary, and they've got to keep up the pretense for the grandfather's sake. But we cut to a clip from the chairman's favorite drama where it shows, you know, the table who's buying the poor girl that he loves all of these different outfits, you know, having her Cinderella transformation. And we see that HaRi's mom is watching this drama at the shop with her son and husband. And she makes a comment just about how lucky Gumhee was in the show for having this rich table to just buy her all of these things. And it hurts her husband's feelings. He's like, I guess I shouldn't have married you, because then you could have gone off and married a rich man to fulfill all your dreams.
Right. Well, because, she's like, the one guy that used to follow me around, I guess he owns his own company now.
Such a scummy...
Rude!
Scummy way to talk. But as a parallel, we see TaeMoo showering HaRi with gifts in the same way, right? Mm-hmm. They've gone shopping at this upscale place with all of these designer couture outfits. And she gets her own Cinderella montage. So he reveals that he is going to give her a real-life K-drama moment not because he's the romantic, but because his grandfather is the romantic. Yes. And he will expect this level of romance between these two.
Because he has spies everywhere as well.
Yeah. Yep. But HaRi tries on this really nice kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it like, not a suit, but it's just like a button-down, kind of professional looking dress. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah. I'm not a fashionista, but it was very classy looking, very like Princess Kate kind of, you know what I mean?
More of a regal look rather than...
and very classy. Mm-hmm. And he is taken with her. He sees her and he's just like, wow. And HaRi is like, okay, well, I guess we can go now. So he goes to pay, and she goes to the assistant.
The white dress?
Yeah. And she goes, can I get a larger size, please? And the attendant's like, this is the only one in the entire country. So I think it fits you okay.
We got you zipped up.
We got just suck it in. And she goes, it's so expensive, but they're so stingy with the fabric. And as they're getting these two checked out, we see that there's this very eccentric woman who walks in looking for a very specific dress that this certain actress had worn for an event, earlier in the week. But it is the one that HaRi is walking out of the store in.
So when she walks in, she whispers, Kim Se-jung. That is the actress that plays HaRi. So she's talking about her wearing the dress that she was to promote her own show.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Because I caught that and I was like, hold on. And I went back and I was like, oh my gosh.
That's a good catch. That's hilarious. I did not catch that at all.
I was like, why are we name dropping right now?
Yeah, that's so funny.
That's why we're name dropping. Anyway.
But she sees that this woman who's leaving the store in that dress that she really wanted is with Kang TaeMoo.
Mm-hmm. So then, which leads us into our next topic. And we cut to an ad. Which I put mine away. But this model has these beauty sticks, basically. And so, she's putting it all over her face. It's supposed to help with moisturizing. And the director yells, cut, and we see that Young-so is actually working. Like, her job is to help, like, produce these commercials and these ads. And so she's going, okay, we're going to touch up makeup, we're going to touch up hair, I'm going to do another shot, whatever it is. And our eccentric woman walks in. Her name is Yoo-jung, and she is actually Young-so's cousin. Mm-hmm. And they're very, very competitive with one another. So Miss Jo is like the director, and she can't help but like make some jabs at Young-so of like, you need just to get it together. I'm the director, you're just the niece. Like we're trying to play this game, and Young-so just goes, I can never tell what you're gonna look like the next time you come back. Like I never know what's gonna happen.
Oh no.
And to which Young-jun just goes, you know what? You were rejected by Kang TaeMoo, and he is now dating someone prettier than you are. Like, we're just being petty here. Mm-hmm. And Young-so finally is just like, you know what? If your job as a director, you need to show up and do and work. All you care about is shopping. Now, if you excuse me, I have a job to do.
Yeah.
And her cousin just goes over and like takes one of the beauty products and just like starts like rubbing it on her face because she's like, you just insinuated that I don't look good, so I'm gonna use our products here.
Well, at one point she even says, you're just like just jealous that I'm a natural beauty or something like that. And Youngso like fires back, if you're a natural beauty, then ramyun is an organic health product or something like that. It's like, oh, okay, brutal.
I will say though, and I said this earlier, Miss Jo or Yoo-jung, her Konglish, like, is the best. That's like, she's like
it's a
just
vibe.
like, because she'll just come in and she's like, hello my babies, and just like is so obnoxious and just throwing in random, like, I mean, it's obviously like very well done and she does it so well of like the English just flowing in with the Korean, but it's just, she's
like that person, you know, who tries to pretend like they're fluent in another language because they know like a couple of random everyday phrases that they just sprinkle in at random. It's great.
Yeah. Which goes into our next topic.
TaeMoo, what is on my shirt? Probably pancake mix.
Ooh.
TaeMoo and HaRi, they are having a private dinner at a restaurant that is owned by TaeMoo's grandfather, right? To help with the discretion aspect of things.
Right.
But HaRi, as they are served the food and they're starting to sample it, she just kind of involuntarily starts to analyze the food. Because that's what she does for a living and she's passionate about it. It's not just a job for her, it's what she wants to do with her life. And TaeMoo kind of pauses and looks at her and he goes, you must have a really refined palate. And she just goes, well, no, not really, it's fine. But he admits that he had developed this dish himself. And HaRi is pretty impressed, but then she gets a little bit sad that, you know, this outfit is going to limit how much of this she can actually eat.
Oh, no.
But he says that he made this dish inspired off of, like, a traditional way of making kimchi, but he kind of blended it with more Western palates to make it more accessible to all types of people, which is kind of cool. But we see Youngso has gone to the gym in her new apartment complex, or down the street, I don't know, it's nearby. And she runs into SungHoon in the gym. And these two just can't, like, avoid each other to save their lives. And he just brushes her off, as he always does, and she gets frustrated about it. But she runs into the man from the mailroom, and they actually start to do workouts together, right? He's sort of teaching her how to have proper form, what the, you know, the different exercises she can do are.
Right, help spot.
Yeah, and she's thinking in her mind, like, this guy is a total gentleman. He's very polite. Look at the way that he's helping me. Why do I not just want to be with him? And then she looks over at SungHoon, who's over there doing like an ab workout, and she's like, yeah, nope, he's my type. I gotta be with that one. I have chosen you. She just can't help herself. But SungHoon, later, he's, you know, freshening up in the men's locker room at one of the sinks, and the man from the mailroom, or the neighbor, is there as well. And they kind of, you know, they say hi to each other. But SungHoon realizes that this guy has perfect vision without his glasses on, because he's able to tell time on the clock across the room for someone who asked what time it was. And he's like, it just didn't quite sit well with him, because he's like, why would you need glasses if you don't use them, or if you have perfect vision? But Youngso runs into the neighbor again by their elevator, and he has this big old box that he gifts her. And he's like, you know, I made this myself. It's handmade. I just wanted to, like, welcome you, commemorate our new acquaintanceship. Right. Have a thing.
Thanks.
Cool.
I don't want it. But that leads us into our last topic. We are back with HaRi and TaeMoo, and she's coming out of the bathroom and drops her purse. And of course she's bending down, trying to, like, she already can't eat anything because she can't breathe. And as she's trying to pick it up, the back of her dress just rips, and she's just goes, oh no. And TaeMoo realizes as well, like,
they both hear it.
Oh, this is really bad. But the staff is coming, and so he, you know, stands behind her to help cover. And the staff comes with flowers and a cake, and they take a photo together, you know. And so they leave the restaurant, and this is not her night. Because as she's walking, she loses one of her shoes. And TaeMoo puts, we have a Cinderella moment here. He puts the shoe back on for her. And they turn, and fireworks are being set off over the Han River. And
we get our Lizzie McGuire moment.
We do. Because HaRi's like, wow, they're so pretty. And TaeMoo's agreeing, because he's like, yeah, this is pretty. But then, of course, we look at the girl, and we think the girl is so pretty. And so he drops her off at home and was like, don't worry, we played our part well. I'm sure my grandfather has already been informed of all of the activities of the day. And when HaRi goes inside, when they actually leave, they actually have a cute goodbye moment of she turns around and waves again. We haven't had a moment like this yet. So she's inside hanging up the ripped dress and just being like, oh, it's still pretty. I won't wear it again, but it's still pretty. She looks at the photo. And TaeMoo has left, and he looks over and realizes that Gimhee has left her wallet, and so he turns around to take it back. And when he opens it, he, goes, what? Because as he's getting out to take the wallet to the shop, he watches her walk out and greet MinWoo, because MinWoo has come to visit. And he calls for HaRi then TaeMoo opens the wallet and calls Gimhee and realizes that
we're one in the same.
It's not who he thinks it is. And end of episode.
Character of the hour.
So when I originally did this, because I did
weeks ago.
A few weeks ago, I have TaeMoo. He notices talent, and when he notices talent, he does something about it. Whether it be with HaRi, with MinWoo, of no, this person is good at this. Let's, capitalize on this. Let's expand on it. Also that, despite how overbearing his grandfather can be, he still takes his words, seriously. He's not just in one ear, out the other. He tries to, because it's constant.
He's got a heavy filter.
Yes. But then he's starting to realize that maybe having a relationship isn't such a bad idea. He's becoming softer. But then I was also, because I was rewatching it, the chairman would be another character for me for this episode of, he has his grandsons back. Yes, he wants his grandson to be taken care of. That's why he's pushing for him to get married. It's because he doesn't want him to be alone. And even for SungHoon, of just no, I want, you're my family.
Yeah.
I want you with me. But then with the director of being no, you're going to support the president. You're going to do this. Otherwise, you will not have a job. And, oh, hey, I got this for your fake girlfriend. Please go take care of her.
But I hate that other girl who happens to look just like your fake
exactly
girlfriend.
The same. Who's yours?
As cruel as I feel like SungHoon is being, I feel like he's also, it's admirable that he has such deep loyalty to his adoptive family, that he would forsake a relationship that he's really interested in to honor the fact that these are the people who raised him, and he doesn't like that she kind of made a fool out of him. I think TaeMoo would probably be my other one, because he's really chilled out with the revenge on Gimhee factor, and he is starting to see her as a person more. and now as somebody that he's genuinely interested in.
Right.
And there's little bits of chemistry, and that's something I really like about this show, is the fact that the chemistry builds pretty naturally between them, where they start here and then they just slowly like
make their way forward.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, final thoughts.
I think that was a pretty good final thought right there, of just like the natural build of even SungHoon and Youngso. Like they have chemistry, which is why
sparks are flying.
It's why the avoidance bothers her so much. That she's like,
and why he has to avoid her, because if he lets her in a little bit, he's gonna let her in all the way. Yeah.
And so it's just like the casting, I could not be more perfect.
Oh, it was so good.
Because they all clearly have chemistry with each other, just like
HaRi and Youngso are so believable as best friends.
Oh my
too.
goodness, yeah. Well, and even the guys of just like SungHoon walking in and be like, okay, do you feel better now that you've cleaned my house and you've cooked food? Like,
yeah, just they seem comfortable,
right? Or even being back home, and TaeMoo's like, Grandpa wants you to move back. I want you to move back, and he was like, I don't need to suffer at home, and he gets like. What did I do? But then he even like grins, because he's just like, I love like poking all of the buttons that he has, because it's enjoyable when it's at home.
Yeah.
And so it's just, we're a third of the way through, because there's only 12 episodes of this show.
Oh wow,
which
crazy
is so great. Yeah.
Gosh, why wasn't this the consolidated one?
Because it's just a fun, great show to talk about.
It is. It's a fun one. It's an easy watch. I
had to stop myself from like continuing on, because I just want to finish it, because
it's a comfort drama.
It is a comfort drama.
Yeah, it's just a easygoing, fun to watch.
And the grandpa truly, like, especially with this episode, and he's dealing with.
Oh, he's wily. Like, he
just
might play the role of the confused old man, but he got to where he was for a reason.
Right. Well, like, dealing with Kevin, and he's just, like, doing all these terrible dad jokes. And he even tells him, you're too young for dad jokes. Like, I don't even do that.
Yeah.
And he's just, like, he's so, like, his sense of humor is fantastic.
I like that he is very, he's a good boss in the sense that he's willing to give little people the time of day. He wants to know what's going on with his employees. He wants to have his finger on the pulse.
Right.
And he doesn't just write people off, except for maybe HaRi. But she kind of deserved it. She didn't exactly put her best foot forward when she dropped him into the cabbage water.
Well, and like, I know she has 2 parts to play right now, but girl, when you pull your hair forward and create a curtain that you see this much out of, people look at you.
Yeah, because
you look a little strange, and you are drawing the attention, like, Mireille and Maidi, and they're going on the date, and she's just like
the meerkat.
Like,
yeah.
If you just walk normal, pretend like nothing's going on around you.
Look at Clark Kent. He literally puts on a pair of glasses and nobody knows who he is.
It just, stop pulling your hair forward, because then people look at you and go,
Yeah, it draws
so weird, especially
attention.
when her coworkers are like,
why are you acting this way?
Doing, you weirdo?
I also would be asking that question.
If I ever start doing that,
I'm gonna first of all ask if everyone is safe. Has anyone been taken hostage?
Like what you're hearing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any new episodes. We'd love to connect with you on our Instagram at The KDrama Show. For more behind-the-scenes content, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Links are in the show notes. Thanks for hanging out with us on The KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim, and we'll see you next time.